Coming up in SVG-TV News and Sports this evening at 7, Parliament passes bill to modernize border control and bolster border security. Strong energy exports position Trinidad and Tobago in UK and EU markets. UK Prime Minister under pressure, facing calls to resign ahead of elections. And in sports, Jamaica Scorpions clung for life in a nerve-wracking final session against Barbados Pride in second round of West Indies 4-day championship. These and other stories coming up in SVG-TV News and Sports this evening at 7.
Good evening and welcome to SVG-TV's News and Sports for Thursday, April 23rd, 2026. I'm Triska Campbell with the details. St. Vincent and the Grenadines will be implementing the Advanced Passenger Information API and Passenger Information Record PIR systems for travelers to and from SVG, as well as those transitioning through the country. This follows the passage of a bill in Parliament on Tuesday to exact the API and PIR systems. The bill, which was tabled by Minister of National Security Sinclair Leacock, seeks to regularize the transmission of information and data into a safe and confidential manner for all travelers. Minister Leacock said this will be in keeping with the international standards.
But we do recognize the contribution and the participation of all those students who journeyed through the preliminaries and of course those who made it to the finals and are here with us today. Congratulations once again. Remember, regardless of the outcome,
there are several agencies that have to work hand in glove throughout this region, throughout the international network, to ensure our general safety, Madam Speaker. Part 2, Clauses 4 to 8 contains the administration provision, as I said, oversees and implements the provision of the legislation, Madam Speaker, and establish protocols, standards, guidelines, and systems for API, PNR, monitor compliance and conduct audits, reviews, and inspections, coordinate and share information with impact and relevant entities, ensure data protection and confidentiality of the data, access, verify, correct, and administer API, PNR data, protect API hits and take action in border security and serious offenses, provide training, support, and enforce compliance measures, including withholding clearance.
In his wrap-up speech, Minister Leacock said that should the bill require any amendments, they would be made through the proper procedures.
I am satisfied, absolutely, in my capacity as Minister of National Security, piloting this legislation today, that this legislation enhances that which is now on our books. And I'm also satisfied if in the process of bringing it into an act, we find any shortcomings, whether it's by way of regulations, by Schedule 1, 2, 3, or 4, by Parts 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, paragraphs A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or whatever it is, we will make them. Because we will not compromise for a minute, an hour, a day, a week, a year, that which is fundamental to citizen security.
It was noted that border security will be strengthened and passengers should feel safe when traveling. Meanwhile, Opposition Leader Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, along with Opposition Senator Carlos James, questioned the readiness of the bill. Dr. Gonsalves pointed to the short time given for passengers to provide information, among other concerns related to the legislation. He pleaded with the House to reconsider its passage.
How could it be practical with people changing flights at the last minute that you have to provide the information 48 hours before or 24 hours? I don't know which one is applicable here. You can go the same thing also with the timelines of the vessels. So I tell you, There's so many things in this bill, and I think I've drawn enough. Madam Speaker, I could talk 3 hours on this, I only highlighting. That's why I tell you, believe me that this has all the hallmarks of a draft. This is not the final product, please. Please, listen to me. Listen to me.
Dr. Gonsalves noted that there was no need to rush the bill in its current state.
I'm not saying that you mustn't. You have embarked upon, I raised it with the Honorable Attorney General. You decide to pilot the bill. I said, what scope, what avenue remains? And then I look at the commencement, and I see it doesn't have to start until the proclamation by the Governor General in the Gazette, which is an executive act. So this period is going to be very important. Not because I want to see you as a one-term government doesn't mean that when I come here, I don't have the interest in the country. Good policy is good politics.
SVG is the third CARICOM country to implement the API and PIR systems. Minister of Fisheries, Marine Conservation and Climate Resilience, Conroy Huggins, has underscored the urgent and tangible impacts of climate change on St. Vincent and the Grenadines, stating that the issue is not an abstract one for the country. Speaking at an opening ceremony of a Climate Adaptation Action Workshop on Tuesday at Beachcombers Hotel, Minister Huggins emphasized the nation's vulnerability, noting that approximately 90% of critical infrastructure is situated along the coastal lines. This, he explains, places the country at a significant risk from rising sea levels, coastal erosion, and extreme weather events.
The Coastal and Marine Sector Adaptation Plan includes 19 adaptation actions, while the Tourism SAP includes 21 adaptation actions. These actions were developed to address institutional, technical, financial, policy, and capacity gaps that are currently slow adaptation process in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Adaptation cannot remain a matter of policy, language alone. It must become visible in how we plan, how we regulate, how we invest, how we manage ecosystems, how we build infrastructure, how we support communities, and how we coordinate across government entities and with our partners.
The minister further highlighted that adaptation planning goes beyond simply identifying vulnerabilities. Instead, he said it provides practical pathways towards resilience and sustainable development.
The Coastal and Marine Sector Adaptation Plan includes 19 adaptation actions, while the Tourism SAP includes 21 adaptation actions. These actions were developed to address institutional, technical, financial, policy, and capacity gaps that are currently slow adaptation process in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Adaptation cannot remain a matter of policy, language alone. It must become visible in how we plan, how we regulate, how we invest, how we manage ecosystems, how we build infrastructure, how we support communities, and how we coordinate across government entities and with our partners.
Huggins also called for a unified cross-government approach, urging collaboration among all ministries to ensure the effective implementation of climate strategies. He stressed that shared understanding and ownership are key to translating plans into meaningful action. The workshop, held in collaboration with the CARICOM Caribbean Community Climate Change Center and funded by the Green Climate Fund, focused on strengthening St. Vincent and the Grenadines' National Adaptation Plan and sector-specific responses. The government has recognized the need to better manage vending activities along the nation's beaches. According to Kevin Providence, Superintendent of Terrestrial and Marine Parks, who addressed the issue in a recent statement, Providence explained that the Beach Vending Act was introduced to create a more sustainable and organized system for vendors while ensuring fair practices for all. He noted that the legislation also aims to protect the coastal environment, balancing economic activity with environmental responsibility.
We've had quite a number of consultations, both on mainland and even in Grenadines, Bequia, and Union Island. The response from the vendors were very positive. There were a few issues that were raised, but we fleshed out those matters. So for the most part, all the vendors are on board. They understand the importance of promoting and offering a higher quality of service, not only to visitors, but also to locals. So they are on board for that. Currently, we have about 44 vendors that already send their information to national parks. So we are running with this, as fast as we could, and we have the full support of the vendors across the island.
Providence further highlighted the importance of vendors being registered on the official vendor list, stating that participation not only promotes order but also enhances livelihoods by providing structure and greater access to opportunities within the sector.
Enhance vendor livelihood, right? So the application process is a very simple process. The vendors, they have to basically bring one piece of identification. There's an application form at national parks. You fill out that application form, and we would advise you accordingly. And we've been doing that throughout the consultations, really. So enhancing vendor livelihood. When, for instance, one of the categories is basically where vendors who sell food and drinks, right? So persons who are doing food and drinks, naturally, you would need to have either a liquor license or a food handler's certificate, right? So this is one avenue of enhancing their livelihood. You're lifting the quality of service that they're providing.
Providence added that registered vendors may benefit from training, support, and improved access to designated vending spaces, all of which are intended to strengthen professionalism and long-term viability in the industry. The initiative forms part of broader efforts to improve the management of public spaces while supporting small business operators who depend on beach vending for income. In other news, the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines will be donating US $100,000 to Cuba as that country continues to feel the impact of a U.S. energy blockade. Responding to a question from opposition Senator Kisa Peters in Parliament on Tuesday, Minister of Foreign Affairs Dwight Fitzgerald Bramble said that SVG remains a committed partner to Cuba.
We have committed $100,000 US for assistance to the people of Cuba, given the realities which have developed and which continue to unfold over recent times. We have, at the recent CARICOM Heads of Government meeting in St. Kitts, our Prime Minister Friday with other CARICOM Prime Ministers in their caucus discussed and agreed on a common approach of sorts to providing continued assistance to Cuba.
The minister said the funds are available to be handed over, but noted that Mexico is handling the logistics. Meanwhile, Minister Bramble assured parents of students in Cuba that the government is making every effort to ensure that students complete their education with ease at the various institutions in Cuba. Two non-nationals appeared in court today in relation to a major cocaine bust at Cumberland area. This and other stories coming up when I return with more local news. Stay with us.
Welcome to Sista.
Welcome to the upgraded C-Star Limited,
Where we offer to almost all your household items.
They've expanded their range to sofas, dining and patio sets, beds and mattresses, wardrobes, kitchen cabinets, office furniture. That's just a few from the luxurious collection. Not forgetting their signature quality windows, doors, rails, and bathroom enclosures. Journey on up to C-Star, where their friendly sales clerk is happy to assist. C-Star Limited, where quality meets style.
A funeral service should be one that you can be proud of, one that leaves lasting memories of your loved ones. And that's where you need the New Haven Funeral Home. We are proud of the quality and class we have brought to the industry. We are proud for having trained the very first certified embalmers in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We are proud of leading the way in terms of live streaming of funerals online so that your family members overseas could also be part of the celebration of life. We are constantly improving our services. We are driven by customer satisfaction, and we are proud of all that we do.
New Haven Funeral Home.
Singer is your family store. We sell everything you need for your kitchen and more. Top brands and appliances. TVs, fridges, cookers. We make your life so easy. Just come in and see us. A wide range of furniture. Right here at Singer. Affordable beds and mattresses. Right here at Singer. Washing machines to make your laundry clean and fresh. Singer is a family store that gives you the best hire purchase deals. Right here at Singer. We'll outfit your home. Right here at Singer. The #1 family store. It's us with Singer.
More jackpot money, more reasons to play this game. More money for way. Super 6 a bigger jackpot game.
$250,000. That's the Super 6 jackpot for Friday, April 24th. It's $250,000.
More jackpot money, more reasons to play this game. More money for way. Super 6 a bigger jackpot game.
Listen, the big hardware stores have been ripping off Vincentians for years with their high prices. They came General Hardware with the lowest prices ever in SVG. Now, the big guys are scrambling to drop their prices, but they still can't beat the General. So don't let them fool you. General Hardware still has the best prices on lumber, plywood, and steel. And even with a sale, the General beats that too. So go on, compare prices, then come to General Hardware and save dollars every day. Because nobody beats the General. Nobody. General Hardware Supplies, located next to Yvette's Pork City in Arnesville. Call 453-9000.
Welcome back to the evening news. Venezuelan Frank Garcia and Grenadian national Alistair Haynes were earlier today remanded into custody at His Majesty's prison when they appeared before the Serious Offences Court on cocaine-related charges and charges of breaching this country's immigration regulations. Garcia and Haynes were arrested at the Cumberland on Monday after the yacht allegedly experienced problems. The yacht was then escorted to the Calico, where the Coast Guard base is located. When the yacht was searched, it was found to be carrying containers and packages of cocaine, which amounted to 434,268 grams. Garcia and Haynes were charged jointly on April 20th, 2026 at Calico. They had in their possession 434,268 grams of cocaine for the purpose of drug trafficking. They were also charged that on April 20th at Calico, they attempted to import the amount of cocaine in the same date they had in their possession 434,268 grams of cocaine with intent to supply to another. When the Venezuelan and Grenadian nationals were taken before the Serious Offences Court earlier today, they were not required to plead to the indictable charges. Garcia and Haynes were also charged separately for entering St. Vincent and the Grenadines at a place other than a port of entry, entering the country without consent of immigration authorities, and entering St. Vincent and the Grenadines without a passport. Garcia pleaded guilty to the breaches of immigration regulations, while Haynes pleaded not guilty. Chief Executive Officer of the National Center of Technological Innovation, the NCTI, Petrus Gums, says students continue to demonstrate exceptional talent in coding development and innovation at this year's annual NCTI Robotics Competition Finals. Speaking at the second Robotics Prize giving and closing ceremony on Tuesday at the Methodist Church Hall, Gums noted that each year the competition highlights the creativity and problem-solving abilities of the young participants, many of whom present impressive ideas and technical solutions. He added that the competition continues to grow both in participation and in the quality of products showcased. Gums also acknowledged ongoing challenges, including what he described as misconceptions surrounding information technology among some students. Despite this, he commended the schools that continue to participate and support the program, ensuring its growth and impact.
One of the challenges that we have been having for a very long time is that a lot of students are running away from the information technology sector because they assume too much maths is inside of it. What also we notice is that some schools are choosing not to be part of the competition because they state that they don't have an IT program in their schools that could support, the actual learning of this application. But the NCTI is here to kind of rest those issues at ease, because we have taken on the responsibility of teaching the children how to get into these applications, how to get into coding. And we notice, and I would like to say thank you to the St. Joseph Marco Convent for bringing one of the youngest team here.
Gums further stressed the importance of changing attitudes towards failure, noting that it should be embraced as part of the learning process. He expressed concern about what he sees as a declining appreciation for the value of failure in building resilience, innovation, and long-term success.
I think we have a culture where we don't embrace failure as much. And when we fail, it's difficult to recover because we have not really learned to deal with it. And where you will find that very evident is the area of information technology. Things gonna break, things gonna keep giving you error, but the idea is to continue to push. If all of the ideas that were considered stupid, dumb, ridiculous, and worthless, you would not be living the comfortable life that you are now enjoying. WhatsApp was at one time one of the stupidest ideas ever imagined. But the makers pushed past that ridicule, and WhatsApp was sold for $19 billion.
The NCTI Robotics Competition remains a key platform for fostering interest in technology and equipping students with critical skills for the future. The Elizabeth Brown Child Development Center today hosted a vibrant Hats Off to Reading rally aimed at promoting literacy and healthy development among young children. The event saw students proudly marching from Beachmont Main Road to the Kingston Public Library, where volunteer reading sessions are held. The initiative brought together educators, parents, and community members in a shared effort to encourage the love of reading from an early age. Addressing the gathering, Inca Scott Johnson of the Ministry of Health, Wellness, and the Environment spoke directly to parents about the importance of proper nutrition in early childhood development. She emphasized that as reading nourishes the mind, the brain also requires proper food to function effectively.
We like to say, the children eating all this snack, the children drinking all this juice, who's buying it? If they don't have access to it, they can't use it, right? No. Children go to primary schools because I assume that's the next step for them, right? Or the majority of them. And in the morning, they might be fine. But then, after lunch, it's a problem. They can't focus, they can't function, they're sleepy, they this, they that. And what do we say? Oh, the children have negativitis, right? But that is because of what we feed the children. Okay? Children are innocent, they want to run up and down and they want to play. The onus is on us as parents to feed the children properly.
Johnson urged parents and guardians to take an active role in monitoring their children's diets, highlighting the connection between nutrition, learning, and overall well-being. She further encouraged adults to lead by example, stressing that healthy habits must be practiced, not just preached.
Going forward, if you are feeding the children properly, continue. If every now and then you slip up, that's fine. But if you slip up today, don't slip up tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day, because then it will become a habit. Get back on track. And it's learned behavior with children. You could talk to children as much as you want. If they see you doing something else, they're going to follow you, what you do. So you can't tell the children they have to eat this, but you don't eat it.
The rally forms part of ongoing efforts by the Center to foster both educational and holistic development among children, combining literacy initiatives with broader messages about health and well-being. Strong energy exports position Trinidad and Tobago in UK and EU markets. This from the region. When I return, stay with us.
The Ever-Ready Funeral Home at French's is your friend in times of grief. With over 40 years' experience, they are prepared to take care of all your funeral arrangements. Embalming, lowering device service, grave mattresses, carpeting, vaults, tombs and wreaths. Arrangements for television obituaries. Cremation is available upon request. Ever-Ready Funeral Home offers the finest in caskets and coffins, local and imported. So, in your time of need, call Ever-Ready Funeral Home at any time. 456-1494, Ever-Ready Funeral Home, offering service above self.
World-famous astrologer and psychic reader, he is having vast knowledge of palm reading, spiritual healing, and psychic reading. He will also solve problems like negative energy removal, bad luck removal, get your love back. He's also the specialist of health problems, business problems, love, marriage. Bring your personal and professional life back on the right track. For any issue in your life, Energy has the right astrology remedy. Call now.
Quality products, quality care, low prices, great customer service, all at QCare Pharmacy. QCare leads the way, providing all your pharmaceutical needs, a variety of personal care products, and so much more. Located on Halifax Street. Telephone number 451-2690. QCare Pharmacy, where the Q stands for quality.
I may not like you.
You may not agree with me.
We may not believe the same things.
But that does not mean I have to hate
or discriminate.
Spread love, not hate.
A message from Equal Rights, Access and Opportunities, SVG Inc.
This Friday, April 24th, you can help realize your dreams with a lotto jackpot of $64,000. Your dream vacation, a university degree, that new ride, your new house can all suddenly be within your reach. What a Little Lotto can do. It's a lotto jackpot of $64,000. This Friday, April 24th. You have to be in it to win it.
Welcome back in news now on the regional scene. In 2024, Trinidad and Tobago's energy exports to the United Kingdom were approximately US $301 million in petroleum gas, making Trinidad and Tobago the top exporter to that market. Exports to the European Union were also substantial, with mineral fuels and lubricants totaling over US $1 billion. We hear more in this report on one method being used to ensure that these markets remain available beyond 2026.
According to data from the Observatory of Economic Complexity, a leading online information visualization platform for international trade, Trinidad and Tobago holds a strong trading relationship with Europe and the United Kingdom, exporting approximately $2.2 billion to the European Union in 2025 and roughly £31.4 million to the UK for each month in early 2026. These exports are primarily energy products with a heavy concentration on natural gas, methanol, and ammonia. Geophysicist Vishal Nagasa highlighted the importance of carbon capture, storage, and utilization projects to allow Trinidad and Tobago to keep up with European market demand.
So the government and a lot of stakeholders in country are trying to achieve that objective of reducing the amount of CO2 being vented to the atmosphere.
Mr. Nagasa noted that the impact of climate change has a serious effect on the Caribbean region.
Trinidad and Tobago, we're what's typically called a small island developing state. So these small islands in the Caribbean were particularly vulnerable to the effects of climate change. So you would only need to look at, the changing weather patterns in the Caribbean with regards to hurricane season, flooding. So small island states are particularly vulnerable to climate change. And obviously CO2, carbon dioxide, is one of the greenhouse gases that impact climate change.
That's the news from the region. The international news feature is coming up next. Stay with us.
Across our Caribbean, we're going digital, working smarter and living safer online.
In Dominica, we don't fall for fake prices. We check before we click.
In Grenada, we verify before we share, keeping our hard-earned money safe from hackers.
In St. Lucia, we report cyberbullying, protecting our children and each other.
In St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we report scams fast, protecting our neighbors and our communities.
Together, we're building a cyber-smart Caribbean, keeping our people and our data safe, standing up to scams and cybercrime. We stay connected, but always alert. This message is brought to you by the Caribbean Digital Transformation Project. Stay smart, stay safe. Think Card TP. Visit cardtpconnect.org.
Yes, the sun it hot like fire, but I still have to go try and get you when me have to do today. My friend them pan the economy, I link them and we gonna ride up. So go look around me, say I ride cool, say I play cool, say I stay cool, say I drink cool, say my friend them illustrate them with I call them drink it in them with I cool for life. I cool for life. I cool for life.
More jackpot money, more reasons to play this game. More money for way. Super 6 a bigger jackpot game.
$250,000. That's the Super 6 jackpot for Friday, April 24th. It's $250,000.
Jackpot money, more reasons to play this game. More money for way. Super 6 a bigger jackpot game.
Welcome back in news now. On the international scene, UK Prime Minister has been under increased pressure over his appointment of Peter Mandelson as ambassador to Washington. Links between the high-profile Labour figure and sex offender Jeffrey Epstein have caused a major political scandal. Here's more in this report.
the Royal Observatory in Greenwich, this is the Prime Meridian. It's the line from which the world measures time. And for Labour Party Prime Minister Keir Starmer, the clock is ticking. From winning a thumping majority less than 2 years ago, Keir Starmer is now the most unpopular Prime Minister in 50 years. The past week, among his worst yet, has seen his credibility and judgment challenged in Parliament over the ill-fated appointment as UK Ambassador to Washington of the scandal-prone Peter Mandelson. And his party is now at a crossroads. Local elections are coming, parties on the left and right are closing in. Is it time for Keir Starmer to stand down? Opposition politicians say it is, while voters, even in the London Labour stronghold of Greenwich, are divided.
And I don't think he should resign. I think he should keep going. I think the press and the media have got a bit of a distorted image of him, and he's doing the best he can do, and he should continue doing that, and I support him.
I think he did a relatively good job with the situation in Iran, so I'm prepared to forgive him for the situation with Peter Mandelson. Although I don't think it's I think he could have dealt with it a lot better, but I don't think necessarily that people should be making such a huge deal out of it as they are.
My dad was a really big Labour supporter because they were the working class. Unfortunately, Keir Starmer is not. And he's certainly, Labour will never ever get my vote again.
Do you think he should resign? Do you think he should go?
Yeah, definitely, without a doubt.
He should resign months ago.
Definitely.
To be truthful.
Because he's useless.
Well, they've not stuck to their policies.
They've not stuck to his policies, has he? Come on.
I mean, obviously, they're going to get absolutely smashed next week or the week after, May the 7th, and cancel elections.
Pressure will likely build ahead of those elections. In Starmer's favour, the absence of an obvious successor; against him, the relentless tide of grim headlines. It feels as if time is not on his side. Jonah Hull, Al Jazeera, Greenwich.
That's the news. Sports is just ahead, but before that, let's take a look at the local weather forecast.
The Ever-Ready Funeral Home at French's is your friend in times of grief. With over 40 years' experience, they are prepared to
The weather report sponsored by General Hardware.
Listen, the big hardware stores have been ripping off Vincentians for years with their high prices. They claim General Hardware with the lowest prices ever in SVG. Now, the big guys are scrambling to drop their prices, but they still can't beat the General. So don't let them fool you. General Hardware still has the best prices on lumber, plywood, and steel. And even with a sale, the General beats that too. So go on, compare prices, then come to General Hardware and save dollars every day. Because nobody beats the General. Nobody. General Hardware Supplies, located next to Yvette's Pork City in Arnesville. Call 453-9000.
The weather report was sponsored by General Hardware.
And now for a look at the local weather forecast. Present conditions cloudy, winds northeast at 9 kilometers per hour. Temperature 27 degrees Celsius. Relative humidity 81%. Barometric pressure 1011.6 millibars. 24-hour rainfall nil. Today's maximum temperature 30 degrees Celsius. Today's minimum temperature 22.9 degrees Celsius. Sunset today at 6:18 p.m. Sunrise tomorrow at 5:47 a.m. Forecast fair to partly cloudy with isolated showers. Synopsis: no significant feature across the islands.
World-famous astrologer and psychic reader, he is having vast knowledge of palm reading, spiritual healing, and psychic reading. He will also solve problems like negative energy removal, bad luck removal, get your love back. He's also the specialist of health problems, business problems, love, marriage. Bring your personal and professional life back on the right track. For any issue in your life, Energy has the right astrology remedy. Call now.
Good evening and welcome to the Evening Sports. where the host Jamaica Scorpions clung on for dear life in a nerve-wracking final session against Barbados Pride in the second round West Indies Championship 4-day at Sabina Park in Kingston yesterday. Battling to 90 for 4 after being set a theoretical 40-plus overs to survive. After the Pride declared on a mountainous 626 runs for 8, the Scorpions, facing a deficit of 169 runs, slumped to 28 for 3 and looked in danger of losing what always looked like a tame draw between the sides. But injured captain John Campbell, hobbling to the crease on one good leg at number 5, and wicket-keeper Romain Morris batted through 91 and 62 deliveries, respectively, to force the draw in a fading light. Handshakes came at 6:05 p.m. with Barbados Pride having requested and been granted an extra half an hour of play to try to force victory. The final scores: Jamaica Scorpions 457 and 90 for 4. Barbados Pride 626 for 8 declared. Round 3 in all matches will start on Sunday. Here at home in some table tennis action, the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force beat the St. Vincent Electricity Services Vinlec 3-0 on day 2 of the 2026 Sean Stanley Table Tennis Academy Business Houses Tournament at the Western George Secondary School in Belair last night. Jeremiah Bascom beat Garrick Hummerbach 11-8, 17-15. Clint D'Souza defeated Kamali Cordes 11-3, 8-11, 11-2, and Sion Choi won from Romario Brown 11-7, 11-13, 11-8. The other scheduled matches went by the defaulted route. G&T Enterprises won from Invest SVG, and Gideon's Joinery also won from Cambridge Construction by default. The tournament would have continued this afternoon at the Western George Secondary School from 5:30. Over in basketball, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander had 37 points and 9 assists as Oklahoma City Thunder beat Phoenix Suns 120-107 in Oklahoma City on Wednesday night to take a 2-0 lead in their first-round Western Conference NBA playoff series. Gilgeous-Alexander scored 25 points in the series opening win on Sunday, going for 5 for 18 from the field. He bounced back in Game 2 with 13 for 25 shooting after being presented with the NBA Clutch Player of the Year trophy before the game. 5 higher-seeded teams had lost home games in the first week of playoffs before Wednesday, including the top 3 seeds in the Eastern Conference: Detroit Pistons, Boston Celtics, and the New York Knicks, and number 2 and 3 seeds in the West: San Antonio Spurs and Denver Nuggets. Oklahoma City Thunder avoided that fate by shooting 47.3% from the field and forcing 21 turnovers. Dylan Brooks led the Suns with 30 points before fouling out in the fourth quarter. Devin Booker scored 22 points. Dylan Green added 21 for Phoenix, which will host Game 3 on Saturday. That's how we end sports this evening. We'll be right back to wrap things up.
This Friday, April 24th, you can help realize your dreams with a lotto jackpot of $64,000. Your dream vacation, a university degree, that new ride, your new house can all suddenly be within your reach. What a Little Lotto can do. It's a lotto jackpot of $64,000. This Friday, April 24th, you have to be in it to win it.
Listen, the big hardware stores have been ripping off Vincentions for years with their high prices. They came General Hardware with the lowest prices ever in SVG. Now, the big guys are scrambling to drop their prices, but they still can't beat the General. So don't let them fool you. General Hardware still has the best prices on lumber, plywood, and steel. And even with a sale, the General beats that too. So go on, compare prices. Then come to General Hardware and save dollars every day. Because nobody beats the General. Nobody. General Hardware Supplies, located next to Yvette's Pork City in Arnesville. Call 453-9000.
Welcome back, and now for a second look at the headlines. Parliament passes bill to modernize border control and bolster border security. Strong energy exports position Trinidad and Tobago in UK and EU markets. UK Prime Minister under pressure facing calls to resign ahead of elections. And in sports, Jamaica Scorpions clung for life in a nerve-wracking final session against Barbados Pride in the second round West Indies 4-day championship. And for a recap of the local weather forecast, fair to partly cloudy with isolated showers. On behalf of all of us here at SVG-TV, thanks for viewing. I'm Triska Campbell, inviting you to visit our Facebook page for a recap of the news as well as daily headlines. Also, check out SVG-TV's News in 15 weekdays at 12:45 p.m. Again, thanks for viewing. Enjoy the rest of your evening.